Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Boone County Cryptids, where we chase the country's most chilling cryptid legends, one eerie encounter story at a time. Hey guys, welcome back to Boone County Cryptids. Thank you for being here and thank you for watching. Guys, I've got a great guest tonight. His name is Mr. Brett Sturdivant. He hosts a podcast called Highway of the Hidden, and it's really good. I've actually been on his show before, and Brett's a great guy. He's a military veteran, and we just want to thank all of our military veterans and for their service and all of our first responders for their service. And anyway, guys, let's get to it as I bring Mr. Brett Sturdivant into the studio.
Hey man, how you doing?
Hey brother, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, Just surviving the day, surviving the heat.
Man, it's hot enough out there. I got some sayings, but I probably shouldn't say them on here.
Right? Yeah, it's bad, man. I'm ready for a crisp fall breeze. I'm ready for October for sure.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't complain about it. That's for sure. So
Yeah,
Brett, how
right.
you doing today, bud?
I'm doing good, man. Same old same as always. Just making it, trying to do what I can for the world, I guess.
I understand that. So Brett, why don't you tell us a little bit of yourself?
Well, my name is Brett. I go by Polar Bear. I'm the host of Highway of the Hidden. It's a show about cryptids, paranormal, and conspiracies. I'm just your average guy, man. I've had one cryptid encounter, which pretty much started my journey into cryptids, and it was a Bigfoot encounter. And then, I've dealt with paranormal and stuff like that. And it kind of built up Highway of the Hidden. I started it back in January, I believe. And yeah, man, just been trying to grow the old channel and, get it out there that these things are out there, try to protect people the best I can, I guess.
Right. I mean, if one of us shares something and it helps somebody, if it saves a life, I mean, it's that right there is worth telling your story. I think.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I kind of want to do it as where people have a safe space. If they have an encounter, and it could be the most wild encounter they've ever had or told anybody, but I let them know that I believe them. And I'm here to listen and hear what they got to say.
That's kind of the way I'm. I can't judge somebody on if their story is true or not because I wasn't there. So you got to take them at face value. So
exactly,
this is a safe place, just like Highway of the Hidden, guys. If you guys have had an encounter or anything, feel free to email us at boonecountycryptids@gmail.com and go over. I'm sure Brett would love to have you on the show too.
Oh, I definitely would.
What's your email address, Brett?
Mine is polarbear, HOTH@gmail.com. That or TikTok, polarbear, HOTH, or Instagram, polarbear, HOTH. They're both the same, but yeah, man.
Guys, go over there and give him a like, share, and a subscribe, guys. It's well worth it. I enjoy all of his shows. I watched a good bit of them, and I follow him on TikTok and all the good stuff. So Brett's an awesome guy.
I'll follow you back. Yeah, man. I've been liking your show. I've liked listening to your episodes, man. I really do. I like that we're both kind of, the same, one and the same, we same style of content and things like that. And I like that. Yeah. Nothing against big creators, but I feel like us being smaller that we don't have to judge people. And I know like some of the big creators will have somebody on and then make fun of them like a week or two later. And, I don't like that kind of stuff. And I think that's why a lot of people don't open up as much.
Yeah, that's probably true because, I would be the same way. If I got criticized, I'd probably just stop sharing my stories.
Yes, I mean, for sure.
Maybe not, but,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with cryptids and even paranormal and things like that, if you let what someone else says bother you, then yeah, you're going to quit telling your story. I mean, but me, I don't care. I know what I saw and I'm going to tell you about it. Actually, we're going to talk about it tonight. And that's what it is. What I saw is what I saw.
Now, Brett, do you have any good juicy stories from Texas that you can tell us later tonight too, or
I
one or two
do.
maybe?
I do. Cryptid wise, I have two actually. They're quite recent. I mean, I forget that it's 2024 or 2024 already. One was Harvey. They had an account. It wasn't my encounter, but it was all over Facebook. It was all over like the hometown page and stuff. And then I know in 2017 or 19, it might have even been 15, but they had one here in the town that I'm living in now, and they tried to cover it up.
Okay. Are you close to the big thicket, Brett?
I am not. I'm probably about 4 hours away, I would say.
Okay.
The closest one to me that has the most encounters is not like has the most, but the closest place to me that's most reported is Sam Houston National Forest. And
I've heard of
I
that.
just and I had just found out that they actually had that many encounters. I didn't know that it was jumping like that. I always knew they were in that part of Texas, but I didn't know it was like this. We're seeing a lot more than what they normally see.
Oh yeah, man, Texas is a big state. It wouldn't surprise me if they're all over the place in Texas. I've heard of
Yeah,
them even being able to survive in like desert areas. So
yeah, I've heard that too. And some of the encounters that I've researched come out of West Texas and the hill country area, like Austin and San Antonio, and that's a lot desert. I mean, yeah, it's hills, but it's deserty too. And they have quite a bit of encounters out there, which is strange. It's like you said, Texas is so big; they're just everywhere.
yeah, when I was growing up, and well, actually, my grandma, she still lives in San Antonio, and I'd always go down there and visit my family. I've got a lot of family in Texas. The hill country is beautiful. A lot of
Oh
people
yeah,
don't realize it, but Texas has beautiful
it does, man.
areas outside of the cities.
It does. It has the ugly parts. Like I said, like you go like Odessa in that area. No hate on the Odessa people, but if you go in that area, it's very boring, very flat until you
Yeah, I
get to
mean, it
like
has its
El
flat parts
Paso.
too,
It does.
but Texas is just so vast.
It is, man. We have everything. And where I live on the coast, it's just humid and muggy, but we got a beach. It's not like a pretty beach, but we got a few beaches. I guess
Are
we've
you
never seen.
very close to Padre Island?
I'm probably about 3.5, 4 hours away from Padre Island. I live next to Galveston.
Okay, I've been through there.
Yeah, Galveston. I actually just started doing more research on Galveston and the storm of 1900. And so I'll be doing some paranormal episodes on that on my show coming up. Kind of doing like a little paranormal kick for right now. I mean, I'll do cryptids if somebody has a cryptid encounter and wants to come on, but me doing by myself, I've just been doing paranormal lately.
Yeah, you've had some really good shows. I've enjoyed them.
Thank
I
you, man.
don't delve a whole lot into the paranormal.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, man, and that's and I get it, man, because like it's a very touchy subject. Like some people have had some horrific paranormal things happen to them, so it's hard to. Yeah, right. It's and they don't want to talk about it, so I completely understand. So for me, I'll do like the local legends and lores until people feel comfortable enough to come on and tell me their story. I mean, if you watch the beginning of when I started posting YouTube videos, a lot of those people just didn't want to be on camera. They would tell me their story, but they didn't want to be on camera. So I had to figure out a way to do it. So that's what it looks like, the audio recorder cassette thing, whatever. That's why it looks like that, because some of those people just didn't want to be on camera, which is completely fine.
Oh yeah, I understand that completely.
And it's draining to talk about any kind of encounter, really, whether it be cryptid, paranormal. The only thing I don't mess with, man, is aliens. And I hate to be that guy, but I can't do it. I can't mess with aliens.
I was going to ask you if you had a UFO encounter or anything like that.
No. And what's crazy is right down the road from where I live, not down the road. For me, we're from the country, so down the road could be 5 hours away. But in a town of Dayton, Texas, which is 2 hours away, I had a guy on my show. My very first episode was called Monty. And he's from Dayton, and he talks about UFO encounters, that they have like millions of UFO, not millions, but they have thousands of UFO encounters in Dayton, Texas. And did not know that. I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, man, always out there in the swamp. I was like, oh, wow, cool.
My grandpa told me whenever he was younger, before I existed,
Mm-hmm.
that I think it was him and a buddy, or it may have just been him. I can't remember the story exactly, but he said they actually walked up on a UFO that was on the ground.
Oh, wow.
They walked up to a flying saucer. So,
And man, and I'm not saying people don't have them. I believe they do, but I just can't get behind it myself, I think. And I don't know, man. It just really freaks me out, is what it is. That's one thing that I'm like, I don't want to go into that. I'm like, no,
it's
I'm
pretty
good.
freaky when you start thinking about it.
It is, man, because some of them, and like some of the books that I've been reading, my conspiracy books that I've been reading, they talk about aliens and how they infiltrated the government. Or that's a whole other subject. But yeah, man, even reading those books, it's like, what? I guess
Right.
being taught all our lives that we're the top of the food chain, and then growing up and us getting into cryptids, we realize we're not the top of the food chain. And I think that's what freaks me out about it the most.
Yeah. The more and more I think about it, I think we are a rebuilding society. I think in the past they had way more technology than we do now,
Mm-hmm.
and it was wiped out or forgotten.
Yeah,
and
air quotes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got
entertainment
you.
purposes. Purposes only.
Entertainment purposes only. Yeah, for sure, man. I have to agree with you, brother. I have to agree with you because some of the discoveries they've made, man, is just, it doesn't make sense for the timeline that we were given. Right? It doesn't make sense. Like they discovered that what they thought was a cell phone, microchips for like a computer processor and stuff like that. And I mean, even if you look at the pyramids, like they have pools of mercury. Some of them have pools of mercury on top. Like why? And they think they're refueling stations. And if you go into it deeper, it's a lot, man, and it gets deep quick. And I think
I mean, you start researching any at all. Egypt isn't the only place that has pyramids. There's other places.
Right? And then, like, if you get further into it, and then now there's a new thing that Egypt's in the Grand Canyon. And
I've not done much research, and I could.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's excuse me, but yeah, it's deep, brother. It's deep. But so, if you want, I'll go into my Bigfoot encounter, and then I can tell you those other two that I've had. Because we'll end up talking about conspiracies.
Oh yeah, I was gonna lead into that here in just a second.
Okay, didn't want to jump the gun. I just knew I knew where I was going, and I had to stop myself before it got too deep too quick.
I understand. So Brett, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the cryptid field and kind of go over your first encounter?
All right. So my first
if
encounter.
You don't care.
Oh, I'd love to tell you. Well, my only encounter with Bigfoot happened in, so I'm 34 and I was 10, so what, 2001, 2000, around that time period. And it's not a very long encounter, and it's what happened. And then I'll build into what this is what started it all. So
okay,
I used to deer hunt. Well, I still deer hunt, but my dad had gotten a deer lease in East Texas. And this is their first time we had hunted really outside of the county, because my grandpa growing up had a ranch. And so we'd always hunt there. And well, he got this deer lease out in East Texas, and we had went out there, and it was just a normal deer lease. I didn't know Bigfoot was. I'd never heard of anything like that. I didn't know. And we're out there hunting, and it's later in the evening. And I want to say probably about dusk, like right there right before shooting light is done. It's probably about 30, 45 minutes before it gets completely dark. And he says, hey, reach back there and grab me a beer. I'm like, okay, cool. So I turn around. We're in this box blind, and I turn around to get a beer out of the cooler, and he's facing the feeder. And I look, and when I do, I see this tree come down, this big old pine tree come down, and there's this thing hanging on.
Wow.
Yeah, and he lands, and it stands up, and it bolts. And the tree shoots back, and it's waving, and he bolts, dude. Like, he crossed 25 yards in like 10 seconds. Like, no human could do that, right? And being 10, it looked huge. So, it's being 10 years old. That thing looked huge, and we're in a deer stand that's at least 8 to 10 foot in the air already, and it looked like it was as big as a deer stand. Now, granted, I was 10, right, so my size could have been off, but regardless of how old I was, no human is gonna bend a pine tree, down like that.
No.
Pine trees are huge, bro. But it bent it down, and it took off, and that's my encounter that I had. And so when I had got back to the camp, it shook me up real bad because I told my dad, and of course he was like, there's nothing out there like that. You're just seeing things, you're making things up, typical dad answers, right? And when I start telling around this old man who was the lease manager, he owned the land. I don't know. I think his name was Sam. And I tell him, and I'm like, hey, Sam, I think I seen something. And he was just like, man, there's things out here. Just don't go out in the woods at night. That's all I can tell you. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then after that, watching, we come back, nothing else happened. I think we might have killed a deer or something. I don't remember. But as we come back, and I'm watching TV, and Unsolved Mysteries comes on, and they're talking about the Florida skunk ape. And this guy, and I remember the recreation of the video because that's what they showed. They showed this deer hunter. He goes to his blind, and he gets up in his blind, and he looks out across the marsh. And as he's looking across the marsh, he sees the skunk ape rise up and walk out. And in my head, I'm like, that's what I seen. That's what I've seen. So I just went around calling it the skunk ape. And then as I got older, I started, like, oh, well, I was thinking about what I saw. And I looked at books, and they said, oh, no, this is called a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot. Skunk ape's only in Florida. And so it just built from there. And that stuck with me. Well, then I thought I was the only one, right? And as I grew up, I started getting into YouTube, watching YouTube, and I just started researching. Boom, 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 boom. And it grew from there. My curiosity kept growing. So then I look up, are there any encounters where I'm at? Because I knew I had the one in East Texas, but I didn't know. I was like, okay, maybe they're just there, right? So I Google any Bigfoot encounters around Brazoria County. And one pops up, and it was in the 70s. And it was 2 guys and 2 girls. And I would have to read where it was at, but I know about where it would have happened, like the area, because I know the area real well. But I'd have to go back and look, and I could tell you exactly on like a map. But so they stopped to take a leak, the 2 guys did, and they got out, and they looked up, and it was a full moon. And in the moonlight across the little marsh area, because where I'm at, real quick, so where I'm at, I'm on the Gulf Coast, but I'm on a coastal plain, so it's beach, and then you have marsh and swamp all in like one area. And so they looked out across the moonlight, and this big man just cruising like nothing's happening, just walking, and they're like 30 feet from it, 40 feet from it, and they said it looked like a giant. And so nobody really labeled it as a Bigfoot encounter because it's the 70s, man. They didn't really talk about stuff like that, right? And so then that was that one. And then if you want to stop me and ask questions, go ahead, brother. I'm just going.
Yeah, I was gonna. No, you're good, buddy. I enjoy hearing stories, even if they're not your own. I enjoy hearing all sorts of Bigfoot stories. I was going to ask how big around was that pine tree?
It was fully.
It had bent down.
It wasn't fully matured, because you had to walk past them to get back to the four wheeler, right? And so I know they were huge,
Right.
and so I would say like a medium sized pine tree, which is still like 40 to 50 foot tall. And so, but yeah, and
it had it bent to the ground.
Yeah, I see. That's where I get
gosh.
confused. I think it bent it to the ground, but it could have just, you know how big they are. It could have just dropped from the branch and ran and looked like it bent, you know. But I think it bent to the ground. It adds more to the story saying it bent to the ground, but it could have just dropped from the branch.
Well,
it could have been sitting there.
Well, I mean, pine trees can be bent, and
yeah,
you hear all the time about Bigfoot breaking trees, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that it did have it bent to the ground.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't like an oak tree, big old solid oak like it bent over. It was a pine tree, and I know it was a pine tree. We're in a big piney forest where big sandy, deep pines over there, East Texas. Now, I don't remember the name of the town because I thought I did, and I was telling the story, and I said Smithsville. And so I was like, no, that's in Central Texas. And I was like, no, I know this encounter was in East Texas because I remember the pine trees. I remember getting there. And they're like, well, that's not it. And I looked it up, and it's not Smithsville. That is in East Texas. So it might have, I don't know where it was. I know it was in East Texas, but I don't remember the town.
Right. Well, I mean, being 10 years old, it's kind of hard to remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's like 20 years ago. My brain's not braining right now.
That's like
20,
my person.
Whatever years ago. Go ahead.
That's like, I always tell the story of my grandpa telling me about his encounter of the Bigfoot walking across the road. I can't remember if he was already at my house or if he got to my house afterwards. So, but that was like when I was 10 years old as well. So.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that's where I get nervous about telling my stories because it's like I don't want. It's always one in every crowd. It's like, oh, you're lying. No, it's not that I'm lying, dude. I was 10. How am I going to remember? Do you remember everything you did when you were 10?
Exactly.
No, But yeah, that was my Bigfoot encounter. Sorry, I went off into the 70s and when they had theirs down there because a lot of people don't know about that story, and I always thought it was very cool. And I wish I could find the people that actually had that encounter. I would love to just ask them, hey man, what do you think it was?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think you had a great encounter. Now, when you had your encounter, did you have any emotions? Did you feel any emotions besides fear, or was it just fear?
It was just fear because it was so sudden. I didn't have time to process what it was. It wasn't long. It wasn't like a long drawn out encounter. I think the whole thing might have been 30 seconds max, if that. It was very quick. I turned around. It just dropped or bent the tree down, stood up to full height, and then ran. And that was it. And it was over. I didn't hear no brush crashing or nothing like that. I don't know if it's because we had been hunting that area and putting corn out and stuff that it was killing like maybe the hogs that go and eat it, and then when I guess when it realized we were there, it was like, well, let me skedaddle too, and it could have been.
What about like after you had time to process?
After I had time to process it.
What about after?
Go ahead.
Yeah, after you had time to process it, what kind of did you have any other emotions after that? Like,
see,
man, I just seen a Bigfoot.
Yeah, and once I figured it out, that's when the real fear set in, man. Like, not even gonna lie to you, that's when the fear set in the most. Like, that's when I was like truly scared of the woods for a while. Like, I wouldn't go in it by myself at all. Even when we went back to the ranch and was hunting, like I was horrified, man. I couldn't do it. Like, if it was getting dark, I told my dad, I was like, hey, we got to go. He's like, we're not going. This is prime hunting time. We're not leaving. I'm like, oh, we got to leave. Like, something's after us. And he's like, there's nothing after us.
Yeah.
But then, like, his friend.
I don't blame you a bit.
Yeah, right. And then it gets worse for me as being 10 years old. It's around 4th of July, and we're doing fireworks. And we're at a beach house at one of him or my mom's friends. I can't remember. We're at a beach house, right? And they're in the backyard telling stories. And they start talking about their grandma's house. And I want to say it was up like where you're at, like Arkansas area. And they had a bunch of cherry trees, cherry or apple trees. I can't remember. and they said they went out there because things were taking all the apples and cherries off one tree at one time, like snapping branches and taking them. And they said they walked out, and there it was, whatever it was standing, just ripping like the apples or cherries, whichever fruit it was, off the tree and eating it right there. And they said it was a giant hairy man, and they had a name for it. I forgot what they called it. It was like a local name, but it basically was a Bigfoot.
They probably called it a booger or something like that. If I was
Yeah,
guessing.
I think it was something like that. And they said it happened at their grandparents' house, and their encounter was recent. That it had happened like a year or two at that time before. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And that's what and then that's when I saw the Unsolved Mysteries, and it kept going from there, and then just snowballed into everything to where I'm like, okay. And now that I'm older, I'm more like, okay, now I can look at it and see. But when I was like a kid, no, man, I didn't want to be anywhere near the woods.
I can't say that I blame you. Since I've had my encounters, I won't go in the woods before daylight.
Yeah, man,
and I won't stay there till dark.
Yeah, and people like that haven't had an encounter don't get it, but I think it sets off a primal fear in you that something is bigger than you, and it is out there. You know what I mean? And that's what kind of shakes everybody up that has their encounter. I know I've heard stories of people that have an encounter and they never hunt another day in their life. They don't even go near the woods. They stay in the city. And it's like, man, I'm glad that it didn't do that to me, because I love to hunt. So like I'm always in the woods now. But I've heard strange things, but I can't say they were Bigfoot because I don't know. But I've heard like the whistling before. I've seen like brush move that shouldn't move and stuff like that, but I can't say what it was. You know, I can't say, yeah, I've had another Bigfoot encounter, because I don't think it was. I don't know. It could have been anything, you know, at that point.
Well, there's not a whole lot of things that whistle in the woods besides pretty much birds.
Yeah,
and if it didn't sound like a bird.
And it was a very loud whistle, and I'm like, maybe not, because all I had was a bow. So I was like, let me just
let's just slip on out of here. And, look at the
time. Yeah, time to go. You know, and this one wasn't at night. This was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm like, and where I was at, nobody was supposed to be. So that's what kind of, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's weird, but that's one of the ones. But man, and like you said, like going in the woods in the morning and stuff, like getting to your blind, dude, like just walking and you feel like somebody's watching you, and it's the eeriest feeling. And it's like, man, nobody's watching me, but you just can't help but look around like, oh, dude, somebody's out here. And then I don't know. And then when I learned about dogman, that really shot the old hairs up. But yeah, dogman, that one's a scary one.
I've had what I believe was a dogman encounter.
Yeah. That was
I talked about it on your show, but
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because that was what, like, you had the Bigfoot, and then dogman. Yeah, that was. See, you see what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what's out there, what goes bump in the night, and sometimes you just can't explain it.
Exactly. But you said you had do you have another story you wanted to share, bud?
Yeah, man, I got 2 of them actually. So this one happened in Harvey in 2017. Harvey hit where I'm at in Texas, and I don't remember what category it was, but it was huge. And I was just cruising Facebook, just scrolling. You know, we didn't have much to do. We were trying to rebuild and get everything back to normal after Harvey. And somebody posted a picture of a Bigfoot, not a Bigfoot, but a big footprint. Right. And me being me, I jumped on it. I'm zooming in. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, man, where's this at? Where's this at? And somebody posted the location. So first thing I do, I get in my truck and I'm driving to Surfside Beach where they had this Bigfoot footprint at. Nope. They got it roped off. Nobody's allowed in there. And I'm like, what? I don't need to look at this picture. Like, nope, nobody can go in there. And so I'm guessing there was one that was just like cruising around. And when the flood hit, it just I guess pushed it out of the bottoms, the swamp bottoms that we have down here, and I guess it was just trying to get to higher ground like everybody else, man. Because it was right there. Like I wish I still had the picture I'd show you, and it's huge footprint just right there. And I was like, dang, because it was in an area that had been flooded. So why would somebody risk their life and there was nothing out there? Like it was not like houses or anything. It's just out in the swamp type area. But I guess the water dried back up and they found it. And so
something has to be heavy for something to step in the mud, and then for the floodwaters to go away, and the footprint still be there.
And if it was a hoax, it was a damn good one. I'll say that much. And I don't think people are still into hoaxing Bigfoot anymore. Maybe they are. I don't know. But you don't ever hear about it. And that was the one. Right. And then in 2019, and 19 or 17, might have been right after Harvey. It might have been before Harvey. I'll have to watch the news clip again. But it's on YouTube, and you can look it up and look up Santa Fe, Texas, Bigfoot possible encounter. And these people, they had their trash cans outside, and I guess it was the day before trash day, and they heard something going through it. They go outside, and if you know anything about this, one I was told, if you know anything about Bigfoot, and you go and look at it, and listen to the story, and listen to the description, they try to say it was a monkey, an escaped monkey. I don't know what the monkey escaped from, but it was here. And it's bent over, and it's pulling things out of the trash can. Trash cans that we have are probably 5'11", big trash cans, right? And it's bent over the trash can, pulling stuff out, eating it, finding what it wants and eating it right there. And then they turn the light on. It's still bent over, not even giving them any pain in mind. And then they yell at it. That's when it looks up, takes off, clears their fence, and keeps going. And then after that, they start saying, "Oh no, it's just a monkey. It was a monkey that escaped. It was a monkey." Well, last time I checked, monkeys aren't 7-8 foot tall and can bend into a trash can. Trash can wasn't knocked over. The lid was picked up and it was digging into the trash can, eating stuff out of it. And what's his name? Bob Gimlin covers that one on his show, and that's how I discovered more about it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. After this, go check it out on YouTube.
That's a pretty cool encounter.
Yeah, that one blew my mind. I was like, wow, right here. But that's not the first time I've heard about that in this area either. And when I was in high school, we had came out here for a party or something, and people were talking about there being a Bigfoot down off this road over here. I won't give the road up, but down over there. And I'll tell you when we're off camera the road. But down there, they saying, "Hey, there's Bigfoot out here because we're finding calves getting killed and stuff like that." And they're not coyote kills; they're like mutilated corpses.
Right.
And
last time I checked, monkeys don't know to go check in the trash cans either.
No, they don't, right? And that I don't like when, it was a monkey. No, it wasn't. Or it's a bear. Yeah, because we have grizzly bears in Texas, and it's black bears are just now starting to come back in Texas, and all these years people have been seeing the famous black bear that's just now starting to come back within the last 2 or 3 years. No, get out of here. That's why I don't see how people can say, "Oh, Bigfoot's fake, dogman's fake, all this is fake." I don't think so, man. I think you just don't want to believe it because you're scared, which is fine too.
Oh yeah, I agree. A lot of the people that want to give people a hard time, like I call them trolls.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, my saying to them is, "Come out with me, see what you think after. See what you think after we get done."
Exactly, and that's how I am, man. I want to do an expedition soon. I want to do one here pretty quick. Well, it's hot right now, but once it gets cooler, I want to go. It'll probably be next year after deer season ends, so I don't want to get shot. But probably go hit one of the national forests, man. You'll have to come down, and we'll figure something out and go out there and check it out.
I would love to. I'm fixing to start probably doing a little bit of research out where I go to deer camp at, where I
Mm-hmm.
had my first experience.
Yeah.
Because I had a buddy that they seen something that had to duck under a 9-foot tree branch to get underneath it. So that tells me there's something big out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Normal things aren't 9 foot tall, man. That's what blows my mind about it, dude. It just there's a lot out there. A lot more evidence saying there is one than there isn't, and that's a lot of the reason why I started the show too, man. I want to help prove the existence along with all the other people that are trying to do the same thing, because I think we should
I
be
agree.
told about them. But like I told on the show I was on, I don't think they will ever say it because of the mass chaos it would create. And then you'd have somebody trying to go after one with a 22 and just get mutilated. We're trying to shoot a 1,300 pound animal with a 22. And yeah, it wouldn't be good.
Yeah. It wouldn't be pretty.
No, it wouldn't. But
Then
yeah,
you got to
man,
think about what it would also do to the economy.
oh yeah, I think it would tank it. It would, because people would, man, the economy, and then a whole nother can of worms. It would have to admit that they've lied to us about a lot of stuff, if not everything, and they've hidden so much from us. And I think it would throw a wrench in everything they've wanted us to believe for so long.
Yeah, I agree. Also, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. We're not, entertainment purposes. We're not going down that road, so don't get wild. Don't start reporting. But yeah, man, that's pretty much my encounters, and the stories that I've heard from down in my area. If we branched off into deep East Texas, we could be here for hours talking about the encounters that people have had out there. Especially if you look on like BFRO and those websites, right. They have tons of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of reports from the Big Thicket area in East Texas.
Oh yeah, Big Thicket. Yeah, Big Thicket's.
And the Big Thicket, I think it butts up next to Arkansas, real close to Falk, Arkansas, the Texarkana.
I think so, man. Yeah, Big Thicket, and then Big Sandy too, I think, is another one that people talk about, have a lot of encounters in. And then, like I said, I just found out about the Sam Houston thing. I didn't know that was a thing until, like, when I did my Bowden Road episode. I found out. I was like, oh, there's a lot of cryptid encounters down here. Cool. I'll have to check into that. I haven't looked into it yet, but I want to. I want to see if maybe get somebody to talk about it. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you could get somebody from that area to come on your show.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'm trying to branch out there and get them, but it's taking time. It's taking time, but I'll get them to come on eventually. I hope so, anyway.
Oh yeah.
If not,
all it takes is doing it more and more, and
and that's it. And if not, I'll read their stories. If they don't want to come on, I'll read their story right there on air, and that's fine too. Not above it.
There's a lot of big channels that have got big just by reading stories that people have sent in. So, I mean, either way, it'll work.
Yeah, and that's it too. A lot of people, they just don't want to show their face, and I understand that. And they don't want to be labeled crazy, and that's me. I don't care. Label me crazy. Do what you got to do. Whatever. But I know what I saw, and I know what I believe in. And I'm not going to change that for anybody.
Oh, man, that was a pretty awesome encounter. You had that's a class A from what I've heard. You had a visual sighting. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I was terrified for a long time, but yeah, that's my one, and that's what kind of started, and that's what started me on this journey, actually. And then, besides my paranormal things, but I don't want to talk about those. But yeah, and that's what drove me to it, man. I've had this idea for a long time to start Highway of the Hidden. I would go through names. I would, keep thinking and keep thinking and keep thinking. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pull the trigger on it. And then boom. That's how it started. I was like, I got to tell my story because I know there's others out there because I've heard them. And a lot of them are like mine, and some of them are even worse. Some of them are horrifying. Some of them, they're more mild, more laid back. I like those better. I mean, the horrifying ones, dude. I can't imagine how they still function day to day. Some of those poor people, dude. The things they've seen and
Yeah,
gone through.
there's some horrifying ones out there for sure.
Especially, what is the siege of Honubi? Those guys are that man and his family.
Yeah, I have it in Oklahoma.
Did you real quick? Did you ever hear that one? It's a Bigfoot encounter, and I don't know what year it was. I want to say it's older, but a guy comes back from town, and his wife and kids are gone. They had been getting like bullied by these Bigfoot or something. I remember seeing it. I don't remember where. Did you ever hear that one? And the Bigfoot broke in and took the wife and kids, or at least took the kids. I think something like that.
I mean, I've read stuff like that in books, but I don't think I've actually heard that personal encounter. That is crazy.
Yeah, I don't remember where I heard it. I just remember
Crazy
hearing it. Yeah, and I don't remember where I
not
heard
like
it.
crazy in a bad way.
Yeah, and I just remember it, and that's what I'm like, man, like, because I hear so many stories, encounters on podcasts, or I read them. I try to see if other people have heard them, so I know I'm not like, did I imagine that? Did my brain make that up? You know, and it's just because I remember seeing it on TV, but I don't remember what TV. I remember seeing it, and that was like, holy crap, that one's freaky. And like I said,
I've heard stories of people getting their heads ripped off. So that
right?
story's just as likely to be true as any other one.
Yeah, getting their head ripped off. And then I heard a story of a woman who lived with them, like let them in her house. And it's just so many. There's so many out there, so many encounters, so many different ones, and not all of them make sense. A lot of them don't make sense, but they happen, man.
Oh yeah.
And then,
excuse me, I wasn't there, so who am I to judge?
Yeah, right. And that's my big. I don't know your story. I don't know anything about you. And if you say it happened, man, it happened. Now, if everybody comes out in your town, like, oh, dude's a liar. You know, he's lied about everything. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, now I won't believe him. But other than that, I'm going to believe you.
Right. Oh, you care if I ask you a couple questions before we wrap up, buddy?
No, go ahead, man.
Now, we're going to talk about your podcast for just a second.
Okay.
What do you hope that listeners take away from your podcast? You know, kind of, especially some of those that might be skeptical about cryptids and stuff.
I would hope that they would take away that not everyone out there is lying about what happened to them, and that they feel safe enough to come on the show if they had an encounter and want to share it. And hope that I don't like using the word safe space, but in a way, yes, like a safe space where you can come on and say, hey, this is what happened. And, you know, will you listen to me? And then I'm like, yeah, you know, and that, you know, and if you don't believe, hopefully you hear enough to learn enough to know that, hey, something might be out there. It may not be a Bigfoot, you know, it may be something, it may be a human, but you learn that even if you don't believe, that you still go out there prepared and able to protect yourself in these woods.
That's an excellent answer, buddy. What's your advice for someone who might have had an unexplainable encounter, but they're kind of hesitant to share their story?
If you've had an unexplainable encounter, you don't know what you've seen, or you like it may be what they classify as like a class B, I think, or something like that. If you don't want to come on the show and share, reach out to somebody that you think would know and ask them. Tell them what happened. Say, hey, man, this happened to me. I don't know if it did. I don't know if this is real. I don't know if it's not. You know, seek it help, because some encounters do destroy people. You know, some people end up in therapy and stuff like that. And don't hold it in, man, because that stuff can really mess you up pretty bad.
Yeah, I agree. Agree 100%. Well, Brett, I want to thank you for coming on the show, buddy.
Oh yeah, man.
I really
Anytime. I
appreciate
appreciate it. Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Well, I
And
have to
thank you
come
for your
back.
service.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir. No problem.
Oh yeah, you've got an open invitation.
Oh yeah, brother. I appreciate it. You do as well on mine. Anytime you want to, just come on over and we'll get deep into it.
Sounds like a plan, my brother.
All right, brother. I appreciate it.
Well, Brett, if you don't care to hang out in the studio for just a second, I'll be right there with you.
All right, brother.
Thank you, buddy. Well, guys, that's another episode of Boone County Cryptids. I just want to thank you for watching. And man, Brett was a great guest. He's a really good dude. I think a lot of him. But guys, I've mentioned it several times. My friend Daniel Hamilton from the Cryptid Podcast, he created a GoFundMe account for Joshua Smith and his wife Stacy. Joshua's wife Stacy, suffers from mold toxicity, and they've had to move like 10 or 12 times in the past year. And every time they do, they've got to tear up roots and pretty much leave everything behind. You can find more information about the GoFundMe on Cryptid Podcast Facebook page. It's listed on there. And guys, if you just go check out Mysteries Unknown, that's Joshua Smith's channel. If you can't give to the GoFundMe, if you could just, watch his videos and like them and comment on them and subscribe to his channel and share his channel out. And you might even think about becoming a member. And guys, go check out the Cryptid Podcast with Daniel Hamilton. Go check out Brett's podcast, Highway of the Hidden. Excellent show. You'll really enjoy it. Even send your encounters into him. He would love to have you on his show. Go check out the Nightmare Hunters with DA, Robbie, Doc, and Steve. Check out Old Line Cryptids, Woodwalkers, Watch and Holler. Like I say, guys, there's too many shows to mention, but I love them all. And guys, if you've had an encounter and you would like to share it, or even just have me read it on air, send me an email there. It's going across the bottom of the screen, boonecountycryptids@gmail.com. And guys, if you've had an encounter, and even if you think it's not a significant encounter, remember, guys, every encounter is a piece to the puzzle, and it takes all the pieces to put the puzzle together. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching Boone County Cryptids.